Yeah, and they're going to crush it again in this picks and bans. They want to be able to continue their strategies the way they had it last time around. The late game Xingwei with the Fafnir, I feel, was the key to their success, along with the early game pressure from this Raijin Fenrir combo.
And like I said, the Sun Wukong was probably the MVP for me personally. I think you could watch that. I think you could watch that game back and really point out everybody on eXcellence doing a good job, which was very important. Because again, going back to the match against Rival, one of the things that I noted was like everybody seems to have their own individual game plan and nobody's coming together. Well, that game right there, there was a lot of individual success, but at least everybody seemed to be on the same page.
It seems that Retribution are still going for the same bans, with exception of banning the Fafnir instead of Freya. So this time, Retribution gonna pick that one up.
I like the choice. I like Freya a lot. It should work out. We'll see where it goes. The Athena coming out from eXcellence, though. Athena is interesting because she's an excellent pick. We'll go with the Raijin as well. But Athena these days, despite being worth a top-tier pick, she seems to have faltered and is now I don't want to call her a flavor pick, Anatoly, but she's not the Fafnir, she's not the Terras, she's not these #1 support picks anymore.
If you first pick Freya, you have to protect her so much, because now eXcellence, they see the Freya pick and they're like, okay, how are we going to exploit her? Well, we might go some global pressure here. They're going to have Athena, which could be run in the jungle role. It could also be run in solo lane.
Sure.
Or even if it's in dual lane, one taunt onto the Freya gets her completely out of position to allow any sort of jungle game to happen. And this Odin pick as well. Those are some great flex picks coming out of eXcellence.
So the Odin choice, certainly an option. But the Sylvanus, again, you want to talk about spicy supports. Sylvanus recently, he was gone for so long, and every now and then we're seeing him. We're seeing him a little bit more here towards the middle and the end of the 3rd season.
And this is going to allow the Freya to kind of still stay in lane. If she gets poked out, she'll be able to get that healing. She has the MP5 from the root as well. So the laning phase should be interesting for Retribution. As long as they avoid getting double taunted, they should still hold their own.
Interesting pass ban coming out for Retribution. What do you think about that one?
I think they don't really worry about anything that eXcellence can really dish out at this point. They're not worried about like they were worried about the Xingwei. They weren't worried about Rom or Xbalanque, which is why the pass happened. And Xbalanque going to get answered in return immediately. So eXcellence has some really good late game options between this Raijin and Xbalanque combo.
Taking the Sun Wukong was a very important play out of Retribution, I believe. Sobek will be selected, so that Athena will be support. I think we see the solo Sobek, and we do. Predators will be on the Sobek. Mr. Turtle will be playing on that Athena. And we've got the jungle Odin.
But like we mentioned before, the flex picks between this Odin, Athena, Sobek. Honestly, between all those 3 characters, any one of those 3 could go solo or jungle. You don't really want to put Sobek in the jungle,
yeah.
But either way, that's an option too.
Blink, blink. Tail whip, charge prey.
Blink, charge prey. You don't even need the tail whip, honestly. Just a surprise factor. We've seen Blink Naja plays all the time happen with the ultimate.
I mean, just recently, Skilldon making it happen in the SPL with the Blink Naja. So Predators will be playing that solo Beck, a little bit more traditional, I think we'll say. Solo Beck is traditional at this point in the game. But the jungle Odin is a little spicy, we'll say. Not unheard of. Certainly has a spot in Smite Legacy.
The Odin was picked immediately after the Sylvanus, so
yes.
That's the goal here. It's going to be nice rotations from Maloaise, trying to really shut down the Sylvanus-Freya combination, especially if he can go there before the Freya hits level 5.
So this is interesting. Fenrir and Zeus obviously are a scary force to be reckoned with early on, but Odin Raijin, honestly, is not exactly somebody to sleep on.
It looks like the Odin was setting up for a jump, but it's going to get dodged completely. Great patience coming out of Jeron. Going to find the stun out of Maloaise. The chain lightning going to be able to get a couple of stacks there, and that's going to allow the rest of Retribution to continue the aggression. Looking at the dual lane, they're pushed up. Mid's going to be pushed up. They could look for back left invades as well.
And look at this. Freya is zoning out the enemy.
And
only Xbalanque.
And that's more of having Sylvanus as a support more than the Athena. That's going to allow more pushing power. Athena doesn't really want to come too close, doesn't want to get poked out by the Wisps, and the AoE clear from the Sylvanus' in hands just outweighs the Athenas at this point.
Double invade coming out from the jungle mid combination here from Retribution. They get the right side back Harpies and the left side back Harpies. How are they able to get that much pressure?
They were just able to push out early on. The Fenrir was able to out-rotate the Odin as a result. The mid lane was cleared first with that small 10-15 second window with the back rights being stolen. The Odin, instead of clearing mid wave, he elected to try to bully out the mid jungle and just missed completely. So that allowed them to regain control.
Ultimate out of Predators. He's just going to clear the wave. And that's one of the good things that I like about solo Sobek specifically is how powerful lurking in the waters is for sustain.
You're able to clear out the wave every 90 seconds. You don't really have any mana issues. The only problem is you have to worry about this Fenrir gank. Without that CC immune ultimate, you could get stunned, Ragnaroked under the Wukong's tower.
You still have Charge Prey, which is a huge dash.
That's true, but at the same time, Wukong can chase you with his ultimate. He has the Tiger Form stun, and the Brutalize will chase down the Charge Prey.
Very
so you're
true.
really waiting for that cooldown. And if you're going to commit the Charge Prey to stop the Brutalize, well, then you're a sitting duck.
One of the reason we're seeing Fenrir, Sobek be very liberal with that ultimate to provide him the sustain is because he doesn't want to go home. He doesn't have a teleport to his name. He opts for the Wrath instead.
We didn't talk about that Wrath that I just saw as well from Predators. He opted this Wrath just to make sure he wasn't going to get bullied by this double warrior combination between Mango and Jeron. When there's a Guardian in the soul lane, you want to be able to focus this Guardian early on, deny the blues as often as you possibly can. On top of this, you can stun out the Brutalize.
I think the Odin is... The Odin was a big enough deterrent, honestly, to the invade. Invading an Odin, not always the best idea.
Both teams grouping up, gonna find a stun onto Predators. He doesn't have his ultimate, so that
Nice
should be a free
combo.
kill.
And there's the Odin jumping forward. Elexum able to get the kill thanks to the ultimate from both players. But Fly landed Fly right down the corridor. Elexum takes a huge amount of damage. And 2 kills going the way of Retribution. 2 kills going the way of Fly.
Oh, making the rotation. And Jeron trying to find a cleanup kill because this Odin is so poked
Nice
out.
stun.
Gonna get charged up. The Bird Bomb could come out at any time, but instead waiting so carefully, playing off of their numbers.
Love the shell coming out from eXcellence. You know that Retribution wants to keep following these and try to find the kill. 1 stun coming out from Jeron. Can't find the follow-up damage. The pull just barely off the mark out of awe.
It looks like Sobek making the rotation, but he misses the plug. Charge Prey is off the mark, and now Jeron just able to jump away from that lurking in the water. So a great opportunity for Retribution. They find those return kills that they desperately needed, and now they're going to be able to grab the left side mids after their own red.
Smartly using the map there as the Fenrir. If he jumps away from lurking in the waters, Sobek can still catch up. He'll be able to find, maybe even find still the slow, but definitely find the Charge Prey into the tail whip. By dipping right into the mid Harpies and jumping back into the mid lane, not the predictable path, he's able to go ahead and create just enough distance between himself and Predators to make sure that he can't get caught up to.
And now the Wukong on Mango Man is able to do work onto Predators that's playing on the Sobek. 2-level advantage after getting first blooded, and now another invade coming from Jeron, getting the speed buff. They could go for the blue buff, but the Wrath is available for Predators.
Yeah, everybody's got to be a little bit careful of that one. Predators, although if you zone him completely away, that's how you protect it from the Wrath. Still gets taken out by Mr. Mango Man. Predators in some trouble with no mana available.
That's what I was about to mention. He had no mana, could have got turned on, but in the dual lane, looks like the Xbalanque feeling himself a little bit, poking out the Freya in 3v1. Jeron forced out, jumping into the safety of his Sylvanus.
And that was a great play by Retribution over there on the solo side, understanding the mechanics of the relics involved. Like you said, Predators has the Wrath available, but so does the Fenrir. So Fenrir's in the cove, and the Sun Wukong is outside, making sure the Predators can't actually get in range to Wrath it. Just excellent play by Retribution.
And being able to knock up the Sobek was the key issue before the tail flip happened. That would have allowed Predators to confirm it himself. So being able to walk away very cleanly after the speed and blue buff invade. Now Retribution with about a 1,500 goal lead heading into the 6.5 minute mark.
And eXcellence trying to do what they can to hang on. They were able to win game number 1, which was one of the bigger... That's just good for the team, honestly. that was one of our more devastating losses, I think, last set. And as long as eXcellence can bounce back, that makes me feel strongly about the players and about their ability to really come back. So that one win was probably more important than the win of the set, if you ask me.
3-on-4 fight, but it seems that Jeron doesn't care. He's going to take it onto Fly, forcing the disengage. Going to get taunted, and the bird bomb confirms it, though.
What's the thought process? That one just seemed very suspect. You've got the Fenrir jumping in, and Elexum is there as the Zeus. The Predator's gonna die here to the chicken bag, most likely. Nice Xbalanque ultimate, actually, will save the life of the Sobek.
Doesn't see it by Predators, though. Still has to be careful. A nice little Odin ultimate from Maloaise, keeping him out of range. But Mango Man still min-maxing. He's like, all right, I can't move.
Yeah.
What can I do here? Oh, back Harpy. The one back Harpy is up. Let me take that away.
I can still steal this. Going back to that play to Jeron, I mean, you had Elexum there. I think the ultimate was available, and in fact, it was used. But everybody was a little bit too far away from where that is, and that's one of the problems when it comes to initiations like that jump, or you'll see it sometimes with underdeveloped Raijin players. When they go ahead and thunder crash in, you put yourself out of range of help from your teammates, and all of a sudden Jeron goes, hey, I got it, he jumps in, but Elexum is just out of range. He's not able to find the ultimate.
To his credit, Fenrir does a lot of damage, but so does Freya if she's able to hit these shots onto Farleez. Just going to walk away under tower, but it was a 4-on-3 fight that he jumped into.
Yeah.
The Sun Wukong was not there to really assist him, and at this stage of the game, the Fenrir's going into the Odin's Wrath instead of the physical defense, so he's not able to really survive against this Odin Bird Bomb combination, which has a pretty nice damage, even at level 7.
Retribution gonna heavy-handedly invade into the jungle.
Despite dying earlier, though, he still has a 2-level lead above Maloaise, so he needs to keep playing aggressive like this. If he's able to trade out, or at least bully the Odin out, then he's not getting the important farm. Elexum gonna get healed after that Bird Bomb.
Not too big of a deal. Sylvanus able to, like you said, make it sort of go away.
And the relic choice from I really like this. Going the Ghost Walk, trying to negate Maloaise from locking down the Zeus, the Sylvanus, being able to reposition themselves and then drop the heal outside the cage so they could still get the healing, it wouldn't get reduced, and then maybe fighting on their own terms instead of the Odin's.
Which is interesting because, like you said, it's all about protecting. Freya and Zeus are two of the more susceptible characters in the game, let alone on the battlefield to ganks. All in from Retribution onto the Gold Fury. They're going to go ahead and drop everything in Retribution. Able to take that one, no problem. And that'll catapult them up to a very large lead.
And that's the difference between having a Wrath on a jungler and a Wrath on a soul laner. You can make that kind of a Gold Fury play by just grouping up, whereas if the soul laner's out of position, if he doesn't have teleport, well obviously he doesn't because it's not level 12, then you can easily exploit that lopsided relic choice.
Mango Man waiting a little bit there for his gold to tick up. Able to finish a second item, Bulwark of Hope.
Not a bad idea. At this point, you're trying to get that little bubble at this point against the Sobek, the Raijin, and the Athena, because honestly, the Odin's level 8. He's not doing too much damage against some Wukong.
Yeah, no, Odin, like you said, he's a little bit behind. His time in the sun is about to come to an end. Freya getting heavily aggressed on, and the basic is enough.
The darts was greatly placed by Farleez, just nowhere for the Freya to go. She should have been able to use that ultimate a little bit earlier, but once it was applied, even if she went into the sky, you still take that persisting tick damage.
So Freya falls down for the count, and she'll be back in a little bit. 2 items online for her, starting to build into the Demo Grip or the Telkine's Ring, depending on her flavor.
And that could be a one advantage for eXcellence here, just trying to exploit this Freya. Farleez able to find that one kill. If he finds another, then he'll be in a pretty good spot, but nice job by Jeron, being able to get him under the tower.
And the one shot, not going to be enough. Almost thought it would have been, but just barely escaping.
The Athena on the backhand side, not able to stop the back. Mr. Turtle was so close. That would have been a kill.
That would have been.
Found the shield wall, the taunt, there was no purification, no Ragnarok.
I think the dash reach might have been enough damage, in all honesty. That was a very low Fenrir.
Well, he didn't need to hit the dash. He just needed to cut the distance. If he used the dash to cut the corner and then throw out the reach to stop the back, find the taunt into shield wall, that would have been a nice turnaround kill.
Man, very, very close plays here. We've got a decently close game. Retribution inching forward, however. Mango Man making the aggressive play. He'll get collapsed on by eXcellence.
Seems that he was able to steal away. Oh, he got his own blue buff, and now the rest of his team looking for more of an invade, able to secure the speed. Blue buff respawning yet again from eXcellence, and Retribution are positioned nicely here. Because Gold Fury's down, you can make this kind of play.
And this is a wonderful play, and this is how Retribution are going to extend their lead. They're able to go ahead and just push forward by making sure that they're going to make the invades happen and get everything going on.
In the mid lane, Odd trying to look for the pull. Not going to be able to really find it. So now Jeron just rotating around in the jungle side. Retribution looking for the play in mid, though. They have the level advantage, and with Mango Man right around the corner, they should be able to find something.
Yeah, it's a great knock-up coming out from the ultimate out of the Guardian, and the follow-up damage out of the mid lane. Excellent. Elexum, excellent play.
And now with that one pick, they're going to aggress towards the mid tower. Doesn't seem Fly wants to be able to stop this by himself. Another small objective win for Retribution.
And the Hunter fight still raging on. I love the fact that both of these Hunters really want to bring it. You've got 1 death and 1 kill on the Freya and the Xbalanque respectively. And still, neither one really shying away. However, Xbalanque will shy away from a 3-on-1. He'll sit underneath this tower.
He saw the rotations with that nicely positioned ward. Just going to be able to farm it up pretty carefully. He doesn't have the lifesteal to really be able to take out the poke. So the advantage goes to Freya because of the healing coming out of Awe.
So the Sylvanus going to go ahead and back. And we'll see a little bit of a expenditure period of time where everybody just going to sort of spend the gold that's in their pockets and then regroup for the next one. Gold Fury going to be up in a matter of minutes.
And Retribution have a great spot to really keep forcing the issue. The same exact way they did it last time, because the Wrath was on Predators. They're able to position Jeron, able to confirm it with the Wrath. As long as Mango Man can keep Predators in the solo lane, then this should be a free Gold Fury again for Retribution.
Look at the amount of damage Xbalanque has this early in the game. That's very rare to see the Xbalanque that high this early.
It seems that he's able to really spam his poison darts against the Freya just to be able to control the laning phase. Honestly, you're able to hit the whole wave and the Freya, and at this point, just now completing the lifesteal, he should be able to continue this poke.
And it's going to certainly help him out in the long run. Right now, Freya going to farm up a little bit, and there's the Gold Fury about to respawn. Retribution making themselves comfortable here. We've got a bunch of vision, we've got a bunch of players, and they've certainly got a game plan.
They're looking to try to force the issue, gonna find a hit onto Mr. Turtle. The stun wasn't active, didn't have enough relics. An ultimate coming out of Farleez, and the rotation from Predators.
Yeah, it's a 5-on-5 here. Both solo laners have made their rotation. Gold Fury will be started, but likely leashed here. There he goes. Nice knock-up. Elexum drops his ultimate as well. Everything being fired here. Fly picks up 1. Predators picks up 1 as well. 2 dead, 2 dead. 3 for 2 at the moment after Predators puts down Awe. 2 alive for Retribution, and 3 players strong on eXcellence, but Mango Man able to shut down Predators. Sanctuary and Aegis already used by the Xbalanque, trying to find that second kill onto the Freya. Can't. Sanctuary will protect her for the moment. And Farleez trying to find that second stack, but the Freya turns around and burns him to the ground. There goes, and another kill going the way of Freya for the greed out of Xbalanque.
Overall, a 3 for 3. Everything gets wiped off the board. Gold Fury doesn't get completed by either side, and I like the idea that Retribution had to go for the Gold Fury, and things were looking kind of south for them in the beginning. They had 2 targets underneath them that were very low, but they were diving the enemy backline, so both teams were actually just diving each other's backline instead of protecting their own.
Freya played that very well herself, honestly. It's Freya is all about what do you do during the downtime of your steroids, and as soon as her steroids are, while her steroids are up, she's able to fight the Xbalanque. When they go down, that's when she's going to use the Sanctuary, so Shibby giving chase doesn't wind up being positive.
And Retribution instantly go back to Gold Fury. The teleport is down for Predators. They're still going to stick onto it. They cannot lose this objective with the Wrath.
And the Gold Fury going to go the way of Retribution one more time. Fly unable to really make the stop. No ultimate available to the Raijin.
What he could have done if his ultimate was available, he could have used it to push the Fenrir away just to reset the Gold Fury. We've seen Freya's been able to whoop members that are doing the Gold Fury to find the reset. We've seen Fafnir's accidentally using their ultimate, which resets the Gold Fury.
We've seen that one.
We've seen that one once or twice. And that could have been another option for the Raijin.
Yeah, we've seen that one as well in the Pro League, so certainly a lot of options there. However, ultimate wasn't available. Freya trying the 1-on-2. Going to be in some trouble. Winds up whooping the minion wave more than anything else. Freya, again, gets chased into her own jungle.
And I like the patience from this Athena Xbalanque combo, not committing to the kill. They're able to bully out the Freya. They know the rotations are coming, so now focusing their sights on the mid and solo instead.
And this time around, here's a fight on the right-hand side. Jeron in trouble, has to use the ultimate just to get away, but the follow-up from Fly is too good. Jeron going to be put down. 3-on-1 forces Sun Wukong into the ultimate, but Elexum's rotation is enough to put down Predators. 2 players being chased out with eXcellence tags above them, and Mango Man surrounded in between 2 of them. I'm sure he feels more safe than his opponents, however. And the poke is still being given to Fly.
He's feeling very confident with Elexum right behind him. The red buff on the Zeus at this point, sitting at level 16, 2 levels ahead of Fly right now. So this 2v2 definitely favoring Mango and the Zeus. So great job, I would say, trading 1-for-1. The Sobek right now doesn't have any sort of health. He has the physical protection, he has the magical side, but without that bulwark of hope, he cannot take any poke from Elexum.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of HP there. Nice ultimate out of the Xbalanque. Will it be enough? Will be to certainly stop things for the moment. He's low in the lifesteal though. He's got the ice. He's got the Aussie passive still on cooldown at the moment. Nice taunt into what could be the killing blow. But Xbalanque plays it safe.
Fly right around the corner. Not going to commit to it though. The rotation from the side of Retribution gets spotted out. So both teams resetting. Although Freya's going to get chased down in the duel lane.
And there's a follow-up. Mango Man gets body blocked for the moment. And there's help. Sanctuary for the Freya.
Being able to survive for the moment with the Sanctuary, and now Jeron and Awe making the rotation, trying to find the cleanup. Elexum around the gold fear, trying to see if he can find the chain lightning onto anybody, because at this point, you really want to be hugging those corners as Zeus. Catch an unexpected member rotating around, and that chain lightning at this point of the game will devastate any member.
So not going to be the option for Elexum just yet. We'll see where he decides to really target his Zeus powers come next time.
Looking at his build, I like this option to go for Spear of the Magus onto Elexum because it synergizes very well with this Freya. Whoever gets Chain Lightning, the Freya is just going to be able to shred that target. So even if it Predators is diving Maloaise or Mr. Turtle, they're going to get shredded by the magical penetration on the side of Retribution.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things about the Spear of the Magus is that Obsidian Shard winds up being the mathematically more damage most of the time for you individually, but it's just that. It's just individual. The Spear will allow you to help out your team, much like the Pythagoras piece, which Zeus buys a secondary. The Aura is going to help out the Freya as well. Love the selfless itemization coming out from Elexum.
I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Awe picks up Rod of Asclepius to synergize some more kind of sustain on his side, or the Lotus Crown. It seems like there's a lot of utility already coming from Elexum trying to synergize with the Freya. And Awe should be soon to follow.
I agree, and like you said, there's a lot of different choices for Awe to go here on the Sylvanus to really help out the squad.
Even Elexum can go Rod of Asclepius, honestly, get the magical power, get the more sustaining options for his team. But we'll see what the options are as teams were going to start grouping up. As Goldfear's going to respawn in about a minute and a half, heading into the 20-minute mark. eXcellence struggling right now, about 7,000 gold behind.
Retribution, on the other hand, are localizing over on the right-hand side. Didn't think they'd go for the Fire Giant just yet, but I think they wanted to see who was in the neighborhood. Again, the Hunter fight. Level 18 Freya to the 17 Xbalanque. Big chunks coming out from both players. Half HP on both. Here comes the ultimate out of Athena to be answered with the ultimate out of Freya.
And that's going to force the rotations from both sides, trying to catch anybody slipping. The speed buff on the Fenrir should not be in time, but the scary factor of the Brutalized is about to come out. It's going to get chased down through the dash. The Sanctuary used a little bit too late.
The Purification going to help him out as well. There's the jump forward from everybody else on the side of eXcellence. And they're going to give chase.
Mango Man diving that tier 2 tower, finds it with the cudgel. Meanwhile, Fly getting zoned away, being able to Thunder Crash back in. Mango Man still taking a lot of damage. That could have been an ultimate from Raijin, trying to keep Mango Man taunted into that tier 2 tower.
And Jeron being separated from the enemy. Love that play coming out from Predator.
It seems that Fly actually used his ultimate early on in that engage, as we saw that tier 2 tower dive on the left-hand side. And now with a 5-on-4 advantage, Farleez being dead, this is the prime opportunity to utilize your Sylvanus sustain and keep sieging this tower, or go for the gold here.
And you got the 7,000 gold lead as well. You certainly are a little bit more powerful than your opposition. eXcellence has no chance to defend against the tier 1, so they'll just retreat intelligently so. It's just 500 gold, and honestly, that dual lane tower, not that much map pressure is given to you because of it.
Farleez still dead for 4 seconds. They got the tier 1 tower. They were thinking about going for tier 2, instead choosing the safer option to go for the Gold Fury. There's more travel time for Farleez to come from the base to the Gold Fury.
With that in mind, we're seeing the Gold Fury going to be aggressed on in general, relatively safe. Sobek finds a pluck, but can't find the Wrath, and the third Gold Fury of the game goes to Retribution.
And now eXcellence trying to force the issue. They catch out one member, but the Ghost Walk is good to get him out of there. Fly able to get Jeron in the process.
And there's Fly just continuing his reign of terror. 5-1-3, despite being on the losing end so far. Farleez just barely getting out.
So close. So close was Atta finding that pull onto one member. Farleez being able to squeeze out his life in return. Jeron taking a spill, but still getting credited with the Gold Fury on the side of Retribution, extending their goal lead to almost 10,000.
And it's a giant lead for them at the moment. And eXcellence have to start thinking about what they can do to really pull themselves out of it. At this point, the Odin is kind of a non-factor. We've seen Retribution really play around him very strongly. Early game, he brings a lot of damage. Late game, he's going to bring you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it's really all about the cage. And Retribution have proven that they can play around it, whether they use the Phantom to just walk right through it, or they spread out a little bit. Every time we've seen the Odin cage come down, it's only caught 1 or 2 players.
What Maloaise has to do here is just blink ultimate and walk away. Force the Ghost Walk and then reset. Looking for a team fight a little bit later on. The blink will come back before the Ghost Walk anyway, and that's the one advantage that eXcellence has, the difference in those cooldowns. But they're trying to commit with the Bird Bomb jump combination with that Odin ult, which means the Odin can't get out afterwards, because if you blink in, at least you have your jump to disengage afterwards if things go south.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons to go for the blink on the Odin, to enable yourself to still have the option. Early game, like I said, early game Odin does a lot of damage, but as you get later and later, not so much, especially with this build path building directly into the Mantle of Discord. You're not really going to get a ton of damage, so really just wanting to use your options for escape rather than offensive might be the right playstyle change that this Odin player needs to see.
With this tank build coming out of Maloaise, you're relying on getting passive stacks on the Odin just to be able to match your lack of physical power deficit, but not really able to find a lot of these kills inside the Odin cage, and as a result, Fenrir has this 2-level lead, able to outplay Maloaise.
There's the old tweet out of Xbalanque, try and help out his team. Mango Man on the retreat on the right-hand side.
Still grouped up around Fire Giant. Farleez though on the far left-hand side. Freya deciding to neglect the left, going straight towards the fire. 4-on-4 in the meantime. Odin, he's seeing that the Fire Giant's being started. And
it's going to be continued. Fire Giant now down to about 50% or so. eXcellence slowly making their way into the fight over here on the right side. Fire Giant 30%, going to be about leashed right about now. Elexum will do the dirty work. Great knockout coming from the Sylvanus, and it's followed up by the Thunderstorm. Fly is the first one to get a kill, however. He's on eXcellence. He's going to follow it up with a second kill. Double kill for the mid lane, and Mr. Turtle able to find number 3 as eXcellence looking for the turnaround. Fighting against Mango Man, wants to turn around and walk away, and Freya in some trouble. Forced into the ultimate.
And the left-hand side the whole time, Farleez was split pushing. He got the tier 2. He's still going for the Phoenix, and it's only Mango Man that's left alive. He's not going to be able to rotate down, so finding 4 kills, finding the Phoenix, and it looks like Farleez, he could regroup in middle to get this tier 2.
That was split pushing as it should be. His team takes a fight. They know they can win. Farleez goes to the option, pushes very hard, and able to get the Phoenix.
Just great play from eXcellence, capitalizing on the overcommitment from Retribution onto this Fire Giant. They weren't really in a position quite yet. The Freya was too far away, I would say, to really force the issue. You want to,
I agree, yeah.
You want to really, you know, weaken the penetration with the Spirit of the Magus on the Zeus, but with Freya not there, you just can't burn it in time.
Just not enough people, not enough numbers specifically. Retribution have a very small lead after eXcellence was able to make that big play on the right side.
And just like that, a 9,000 gold lead cut down to 1,500. eXcellence now still in the game. They got the left side Phoenix, which is the most important one in the duel lane anyway. And now they can keep grouping up around Fire Giant because somebody from Retribution has to defend the left-hand side. It's more than likely going to be Mango Man with the teleport, but you could still try to wait around the corners and wait for somebody slipping.
And just look for those surprise kills, look for those pickoffs, because that's really what's going to get eXcellence back in here. That's what really chipped away at that 9K lead. You were able to just find that quick kill and how quickly it snowballed. As soon as the one kill went the way of eXcellence, we saw the Thunder Crash in from Raijin, able to complete a double kill and then some.
And all gonna get jumped on with a nice bird bomb, the ultimate
just
from
like
Fly,
that.
confirming the kill. There was no Odin ultimate necessary, and the last team fight actually was won because there was no Ghost Walk to get out of that Odin ult.
You're only gonna have that Ghost Walk about every other ring, and that's one of the big things that you have to take note of. The Ghost Walk cooldown is very high. It's not a short cooldown, unlike the Odin ring.
And with all being dead for 30 more seconds, you can still force a team fight with that Odin ultimate, grouping up, trying to catch Elexum out of position. Predator's a little bit off the mark, and now that chain lightning is going to do a lot.
So Gold Fury was started by eXcellence, but now looking for the kills. Farleez able to get one right away.
It seems that Freya, during the darkest of nights, just got completely blown up, didn't even go into the sky. Now it's going to be a 5-on-3 power play, all respawning in 5 seconds. It looks like Predator's going to back and teleport back in.
Fire Giant is started, but it's more of a tease than anything else. Solo lane not going to be able to rotate on in.
The taunt, though, onto Mango Man. Bird Bomb off the mark. Mango's going to go into the sky just to sustain a little bit and bait.
And he'll wait out his options, looking around where everybody is. And I think we'll see a safe Sun Wukong.
So now with all respawning, he's into this team fight, but it's still a 5-on-4 power play. The Freya's dead for 20 more seconds.
Just going to go ahead and deal some annoying damage is the Sun Wukong.
Athena gonna use the ultimate onto Predators. There's no ultimate for Mango Man. If he gets taunted, that could be enough of a CC to allow Farleez to really do the damage for the kill. But they're going on Elexum instead.
Ooh, the Zeus in a lot of trouble. Sanctuary and the ultimate will save the life of the Zeus. Good team play coming out from Retribution. However, eXcellence now, they've got the positioning totally. They can certainly start looking at Fire Giant.
They certainly can, but Freya has respawned, but somebody has to defend the left. And look at this, Freya back just to be able to defend their own Titan. And this is the one power play, like we mentioned before, that eXcellence is relying on. But Farleez, in the meantime, he's going to take this time to get the Gold Fury instead.
And this is trouble. You want your Freya out there. One, Freya is not exactly the best wave clear. And two, Freya is one of the better fighters you have at the moment. You want the Freya out there rather than stuck here just farming.
Yeah, you really want your Sun Wukong out there instead of the Freya. You want to be able to utilize that teleport to its fullest advantage.
Yep.
Freya in these team fights is too valuable to really pass on by. Farleez finally able to get this Gold Fury after about 30 seconds or so. Should be able to spend a lot of this gold now, getting the red buff to complement it.
Just doing everything you can. Always be clearing. Always have something to do in your MOBAs. So as everybody grouping up here, we're about tied here, folks. eXcellence able to bite back. Look at that big slope down. That was a 9,000-ish gold lead for Retribution. That one team fight, eXcellence was really able to turn it around. So this one looked like it was Retribution's all the way to the bank, but in a half hour, it's anybody's game.
Looks like eXcellence still grouping up around the Fire Giant. They're feeling they can take on a team fight full-on 5-on-5 with the left side Phoenix respawning. Now Retribution can start rotating over, but the Freya shows herself on left, and this should force the hand of eXcellence.
Yeah, this should immediately be the Fire Giant start, and we're seeing just more of a grouping. eXcellence not really going for it.
They're just waiting for the right opportunity, but nobody from Retribution is overextending. Great patience from Awe, because if he gets caught out by himself,
yeah,
he's going to be juggled between the Sobek, the pluck, and the tail flip.
Fire Giant being started out, and Fly just able to eliminate Elexum very quickly. I mean, that happened super fast, and that's been the mark of eXcellence being able to win these team fights. Farleez puts number 3 in his passive column. Fly has been able to just annihilate these players before they even know what's going on.
Great shoot coming out of Fly, able to duck underneath the ultimate from Wukong, but runs right into Freya and Fenrir instead.
And the damage still coming out from the Freya. Dvizes is still pulsing and irradiating. 2 dead on the side of Retribution, but only 1 for eXcellence. They lose their mid laner in the process. So far, eXcellence winning this team fight.
Freya, though, being chased down, and now Jeron taking a spell 3 for 1. Farleez getting credited with the Fatalis effect. Freya goes into the sky trying to find Predators, but instead it's Predators that finds the Freya.
The ants go marching one by one. Hurrah, hurrah. If you're an eXcellence fan, you're certainly saying hurrah. One of the bigger problems there for Retribution, they all went one by one.
It was a great job by eXcellence. They split the Sylvanus away from the Zeus. The Zeus didn't have the Ghost Walk effect as a result. So capitalizing on the separation, finding the quick kill onto Elexum. The ultimate wasn't even used, I believe, trying to save himself. So great capitalization, and they're credited with all these kills slowly after. Now finally finding the Fire Giant that grouped up in this tier 2 tower.
And eXcellence just going to keep on pushing. All the towers gone off the board for Retribution. eXcellence looking for the turnaround. Now find themselves in the lead. About 33,000 gold. A little bit more, give or take, 3,200 to be specific. Up 9 kills as well, 19 to 10. eXcellence able to turn this one around completely.
All they have to do is really make these team fights as quick as possible, because the longer they last, the more beneficial it will be for Retribution. With the Sylvanus sustain, with the Lotus Crown, you're getting a lot of protections. Also, Rod of Asclepius being picked up. That's a lot of sustain and protections that Awe is providing for his teammates. So if you can wipe him out immediately, the rest of the 5-on-4 fight should be relatively clean, even if you have to commit a couple of ultimates for that kill.
We'll certainly keep an eye on Awe, but I'm going to keep an eye on Predators. On the Sobek, he finishes up his last item, which is going to be a Soul Reaver. The Soul Reaver on the Sobek, it actually has a huge impact. You're able to hit somebody with the Tail Whip combo and then hit them with an ultimate. They're likely dead, just off of Soul Reaver plus the Lurking in the Waters damage.
With the Soul Reaver onto Predators, it seems that's the strategy, trying to pick off Awe, but they're going to be able to pick off the Freya instead, out of position, going into the ult, the Sanctuary used, but it doesn't matter.
1 stack away from maxing out that passive. 25 extra power being brought to that Xbalanque at the moment.
Athena, Mr. Turtle looking for the dash taunt. Zeus needs to be really careful with his positioning. Awe needs to be in front of him, as well as Mango Man, to really negate the dash, trying to intercept him more than anything else.
Can eXcellence just brute force it? They've got a Fire Giant in 4K. Can they just walk in and dare Retribution to fight them?
At the left side Phoenix they can't, because it's half health after respawn. Mid Phoenix it's going to be a little trickier, as long as they don't get grouped up to this. And look at this, look how much damage that one Soul Reaver did.
Yeah, just a big chunk. Percentage. Always wonderful. There's their response coming out of Retribution, looking for the defense. 2 ultimates, Elexums and the Raijins, and Raijins proves fruitful first. Awe's going to go down for the count. Fly being chased, but will be safe. And eXcellence going to collapse. Nice pluck into the follow-up damage onto the Sun Wukong. He's about 50%. And the guys on eXcellence wants to keep that coming.
Farleez trying to chase down the kill, but the Oxform going to get him out of trouble for now. Jeron looking for the turnaround play, but if he jumps in, it's going to be a 1-on-4, and that's not really something you want to do.
Not quite. Jumping out of the backside as the Fenrir still in trouble. Sobek looking for just the chase. Able to chase the player out and pick up the mid-Phoenix. Odin finally gets a kill. About time this late. That's number 2 for him. But the follow-up is still very much alive and well for eXcellence.
Athena going to use the ultimate. Nice little jump from Jeron, avoiding that damage. But now Predator is very low on the backhand side, getting chased by Mango Man. Going to juke away from the Jingle Bang. Going to sustain on up. And the Oxform going to deter the rest of eXcellence for the moment.
Sylvanus shows up. Just provide a little bit of sustain. And certainly start thinking about these fire minions.
And that was a great job by eXcellence, finding the easy, clean pick onto Awe with the ultimate from Fly, with the damage from the Soul Reaver from Predators. They got him low enough. He only got off 1 heal that whole mid-Phoenix defense.
And troublesome. And because of that, Very quickly, we see a large lead.
Spear of Desolation also onto Fly, trying to really chunk out any member that he gets on. If he commits his ultimate and his cooldowns onto off, finds the kill, reset those cooldowns, and then burn that secondary target just as fast.
It's a rare item that we get to see. One of my favorites, however. Thanatos passive in a glass. eXcellence here on the right-hand side. Going to continue on. Nice pluck out of the everybody. Fly picks up Elexum, and there it is. Fly picks up 2 kills for the Raijin. He's 12 deep, folks. 25 on the map and 18 in his name. Jeron gets the kill, but Fly picks up the 3rd all by his lonesome. Walks right on through. Athena's going to provide some help. Fly still in trouble. 2 players grouped up, and a nice taunt will separate him from the rest of them. Wukong looking for some additional damage. Still, Fly being safe. Down goes the Titan, and eXcellence winds up with another win.
Great play from eXcellence. They just really capitalized on grouping up, finding people out of position on the side of Retribution.
And it was wonderful to watch that. eXcellence winds up with 2 wins after getting absolutely decimated a match earlier. So important that we continue this on. eXcellence able to go ahead and pick up that one after dropping to rival.
Really impressive comeback, I would say, from eXcellence. That's not an easy mindset to really bounce back from, especially in such a short amount of time. That means that the leadership in that squad must be really good to rally your troops after such a loss.
Very, very impressed by the guys on that squad. We'll see how they continue on in the SCL. Rival coming up next. We'll be right back with some more SCL.